Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I would like to present my book report on novel which titled 1984, writ- written by George Orwell. George Orwell was an English novelist, journalist, essayist, literary critic, and political commentator. During his writing career, his focus on political systems, social justice issues, and of course, human freedom. His book known works such as in Animal Farm and 1984, which are still widely read and discussed today. So personally, I decided to choose this novel, 1984, because it was curious about its story and watchers and wanted to understand its main ideas. As continued reading, I found that the story explores government control, freedom, truth, and the way political power can influence people's life. This idea made me more interested in this story and encouraged me to understand its message more deeply. For before go explain about overview, so the story takes place country named Oceania, a country ruled by the party under the leadership of Big Brother. In this society, people are watched all the time. History is changed whenever necessary, and independent thinking is treated as a serious crime. The story follows Winston Smith, a ordinary government worker who secretly begins to question the system and researches for truth and freedom while living under strict political control. So after an introduction book, let's go into the summary. So the summary, the story follows Winston Smith, an honorary member of the outer party who live in Oceania, where every part of life is controlled by the big party. The party, not big party, the party. Yes, just the party. Under the leadership of Big Brother, Winston works at the Ministry of Truth, where he changes all newspapers and historical records so they always match what the government wants people to believe. Yeah, although this is his daily job, he secretly begins question to the system because the political system because he realized that the truth is being changed all the time. His doubts become stronger and he starts writing his private thoughts in a diary, even though this is considered considered a serious crime. So time goes on. Uh, Winston meets Julia, a young woman who quietly dislikes the party system. They fall in love and begin a secret relationship because personal love and freedom are forbidden in their society. Their relationship gives Winston a new hope and he starts believing that it is still possible to resist the government. Later, next later, they meet O'Brien, an important member of in the party who appears to support secret group called the Brotherhood. Winston and Julia trust him because they believe that he can help them again. I mean, he can help them fight against the party. Unfortunately, everything changed happened when they discovered that they have been trapped for the beginning. Mr. Charlton, owns owner of the antique shop where they often meet, is actually a member of the Dove police. Soon after that, Winston and Julia are arrested, and O'Brien reveals that he has always been loyal to Big Brother. Instead of helping Winston, O'Brien becomes the person who questions and tortures him inside the Ministry of Love. While Winston is imprisoned, he suffers both physical pain and psychological pressure until he can no longer hold on to his own belief. His greatest challenge comes in room zero. I mean room 101, where he faces his deepest fear and finally betrays Julia in order to save himself. After leaving prison, Winston returns to his ordinary life, but yeah, unfortunately, he is no longer the same person because his hope, his love, and his independent thought have completely disappeared and gone under the party's control. So next about the analysis. The first aspect about this analysis is the theme. In my opinion, the main theme is the struggle between political power and personal freedom. Throughout the story, the party controls people's thoughts, language, history, and daily life. Because of this control, people are no longer free to express their opinions or decide what they believe. Winston's journey clearly shows how to it is difficult it is to protect freedom when every part of life is watched by the government. The next aspect is characterization. So Wilson Smith is described as an ordinary man who slowly develops the courage to question the system around him. Although he's often afraid, he continues researching for truth because he believes that freedom is still worth fighting for. Okay, about next about Julia. Julia has a different personality because she prefers small and practical acts of rebellion instead of opening opposing the party. O'Brien, yeah, about O'Brien. O'Brien also becomes uh, important. Important character because he first appears as someone who understands Western but later reviews himself as a loyal supporter of the party who destroys Winston's hope through manipulation and torture. Another important element about the plot, I mean, yes, the plot, the story develops is a clear order starting with Winston's secret doubts followed by his relationship with Julia, and then his decision to trust O'Brien. As a story move forward, yes, the conflict becomes stronger after Winston and Julia are arrested and taken to the Ministry of Love. The final part focuses on the Winston's psychological struggle as the party forced him to abandon his belief and accept its version of reality. Yes, the, the party's version. The message of this book, of this story, is also very meaningful. It reminds readers that truth should never be controlled by people who have unlimited power. This story also teaches that freedom of thought is as important as freedom of speech because uh, because of both help people protect their identity and their understanding of reality. Without these freedoms, people can slowly accept lies as if they were true. From my perspective, this story can also be understood through our criticism, psychological, yes, and psychological theory. Winston greatest battle is not against physical pain alone, but against fear and psychological pressure inside his own mind. O'Brien carefully changes Winston's thoughts until he finally accepts the party version without resistance. Resistance. This psychological conflict makes the story even more powerful because it shows that contrary the human mind can sometimes be stronger than contrary the human body itself. So about after my analysis. So but next about a personal reflection. So, one important lesson I learned from this book is that freedom should never be taken for granted. Before reading the story, I thought it freedom was mainly about speaking or making personal choices. However, Winston's experience helped me realize that freedom also means having the right of think independently, ask questions, and search for the truth without fear. His journey showed me how easily people can lose these basic rights when too much power is controlled by one government. Another lesson, another lesson, that stay in my mind is importance of protecting the truth. In this story, the party changes history, controls information, and decides what people should believe every day. This made me understand that people should always think carefully before accepting information as the truth. It also reminded me that learning from different resources and thinking critically are important habits because they help us make better decisions in everyday life. Uh, while reading this book, also felt that many of its ideas are still connected to the modern world. Although this story is fictional, topics such as surveillance, sorry, the topics such as surveillance, misinformation, political influence, and the misuse of power are still discussed in many countries today, in modern day. Because of these similarities, this story encouraged me to think about more carefully about freedom, privacy, and the responsibility of every person to protect independent thinking. In my opinion, 1984 is a meaningful and thought-provoking book. The story is interesting because it combines a strong conflict with important ideas about freedom, truth, and human rights. Even though the ending is emotional and tragic, it made me think more deeply about how ever valuable freedom is really is and why it should always be protected. Reading this book gave me a between political power and ordinary people, and it is an experience that I will always remember. So this is our presentation. Also, I want to end it. See you next time. So about this story of 1984, I will end it that. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.